All right, everybody, let's welcome back to Module 6 lectures. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. All right, so we're going to talk about the gay and trans youth homelessness. And so this was a plethora, is a data report, but so it was a plethora of information. So I'm going to kind of parse through some of this to get at some of those key points. So I want you to understand that overall population of homelessness youth from ages 12 to 24 range from 1.6 million to 2.8 million, depending on the study. Abuse, neglect, and family conflict are the main reasons of youth homelessness. And the National Alliance to End Homelessness estimates that 20% of homeless youth nationwide are LGBTQA plus IA. The National Gay and Lesbian Task Force has suggested that the number may be as high as 40%. So overarchingly, and you have to remember that about 7% of the population is part of the LGBTQIA plus. So these numbers, regardless of the 20 or the 40% or somewhere in between, are still significantly higher than the portion of the population they actually are. So disproportionately queer youth of color and rural queer youth are affected by this and consistently part of that due to economic strains already on the household and just other situations that create these complex marginalized identities. So consequences of not supporting youth, again, are part of the reasons why these students see, I'm geared into teacher mode. These youth end up homeless, and this has a very, very negative impact. And we're going to talk about some of the ways we can help here in a second. But I really want to touch on the fact that overall mental health, the level of addiction, the level of risk of harm, the level of risk of suicide, the level of risk of so much trauma is increased when homelessness is considered. Now, again, this may be the only option for these youth, because if they stay, they may be facing severe amounts of abuse, severe amounts of family conflict. A lot of times these youth are out on the street in the first place because families have kicked them out at incredibly young ages. They face economic insecurity because some of them are under the age to work. And even if they are, some of them face discrimination and within economic situations. So I really kind of want to talk through here what ends up happening. And so when you end up as a youth in the youth homelessness, you end up generally interacting with either some kind of the state programming, either DHS, child welfare services, anything under Department of Human Services networking. You can end up in the foster care system. You can end up in shelters. You can end up in all sorts of situations that can put you in more harm's way and more risks. And so it's a very tedious and concerning situation that these individuals end up in, and it results generally in a less than positive outcome and can increase their level of institutional failures that result in traumas and harms. Homeless youth are also more likely to end up part of the legal system or the justice system, and for crimes, what they consider crimes of survival. So robbery, stealing food, stealing things, stealing money, things that they need and cannot access on their own, as well as things like addiction and usage. So what ends up happening is that then this youth homelessness ends up with a track record, ends up with the inability to provide economic stability within their early adulthood, which then ends up as adults without the ability or perpetuating the systems of poverty and economic instability. And it ends up being because really even the resources that are on hand for these individuals can and tend to be highly homophobic and transphobic in ways that create disproportionate trauma experiences per capita than for cis or straight individuals within the system. Okay, so even with the disproportionately affected for individuals of color within the justice system and within DHS and within these resources, there's a further marginalization of being part of the queer community. So really what that means for these individuals is that they have a dramatically increased rate of harms done to them and traumas. And it's hard to talk about and really think through because this is a very real topic for a community that I'm a part of. It is a very real topic for me. And I want people to understand it and that not every family is affirming. And even if they are affirming, that doesn't mean there's not a level of trying to maybe add religion as the answer, add changes to that individual self in order to create that individual to fit the normative that a family may want them to fit. But there is an incredible amount of information out there on how to be more affirming as a parent. I believe I assigned a couple of things in your little book at the end of the semester. But I also just want to talk about broadly things we need to do as a society that can help, because homelessness and anyone is concerning and should be something that we are working on as a society. But our homeless youth are in so much of a higher risk for physical and for physical safety risks. We'll use those words. That I think that this is something that we need to really talk through. So suggestions that the article talks about specifically are to strengthen and support families with gay and transgender children, so youth do not have to become homeless in the first place. So again, creating those resources to allow family structures to figure out how to be affirming and to help strengthen the support back behind them. It's really, really important as a society. And with that, establishing schools as safe refuge and combating bullying and discriminatory practices within our education system will help create safe spaces and reduce homelessness, address the needs of those youth who continue to fall through the cracks. So we're going to see as multiple marginalizations add on to being a youth in homeless, like a youth that is homeless. Those multiple marginalizations are going to increase risk. And so making sure that we do not have populations that are falling through the cracks, or just individuals in general that are falling through the cracks for a multitude of reasons. Take concrete steps to expand housing options for gay and transgender homeless youth. So making sure that our resources are also not causing more harm than they are doing good. They are there to get these youth into safe, secure structures. But if they themselves as resources are not safe and secure, then that does not help. So initiating research in this area, as gay and transgender youth homelessness is not being adequately tracked or documented. And I do have another faculty member at my graduate university who does do research in this specific topic. So if you need or would like more information on this, I can gladly provide some of that research. Other suggestions outside of what the research or that specific document was talking about, continue to have conversations surrounding LGBTQIA plus rights broadly, including supporting movements, better training, trauma-informed and affirming for those who are in institutions, say doctors, judicial system employees, educators, religious leaders, DHS employees, yada, 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 yada. Those individuals who are directly interacting with these students and these youth need to really understand how to be trauma-informed and affirming within those practices. And so that includes doing things like having safe zone trainings, having trauma-informed practice trainings, things that we have adequate references for. But if you need or would like to personally go through any of those things or figure out how to network into any of those things, I have massive amounts of networking and I myself do trauma-informed trainings for other institutions. So I have no problem helping work somebody through that if they would like to, or if they have an employment place of employment that you think might be interested in doing that. Please let me know. And then also broader education on gender and sexuality overarchingly, which is part of why I do what I do. But again, this is something that is incredibly important because it is the mental and physical and safety and well-being of our community members. And we need to figure out how to make sure that we are doing as a society what we can do to make sure that we are not encouraging or perpetuating forces and oppressive things that will get us to a place where these youth have no other option but homelessness. So if you in any way, shape, or form have any questions, would like access to any kinds of trainings, would like to talk through how to be an affirming parent, would like to talk through or add any research, and that goes for any of the other topics we talk about too. This is just very geared into the topics that I personally research. Please, 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 please reach out. I can get you in touch with any of the resources and probably more of an abundance than you need. So please, please reach out. All right. Thank you so much and have a great day. Also, if you are a career member who has experienced homelessness, please, please do not feel like you need to share this information with your classmates. However, if you do need someone to talk to that is a peer, or you need resources as someone who may be experiencing homelessness, also please reach out, as I will gladly point you in the direction of affirming resources. All right. Thank you and have a great day.